Do you believe in the Doomsday Glacier?
Did the world blow up? Then that mean we still judge. Did the world blow up? Then that mean we still judge.
Welcome to the 800. Welcome to the 800. Welcome to the 800 North Shore. Welcome to the 800. Welcome to the 800. Welcome to the 800 North Shore.
The real threat isn't some Hollywood disaster with oceans swallowing the earth tomorrow. It's what happens in the next 5 years. Seas are already rising faster than any point in recorded history. And that extra inch or two doesn't sound like much until every storm turns into a flood. The NOAA says U.S. coastal cities could see 3 to 7 times more floods by the early 2030s. Not once in a while, not once a year, monthly. Meanwhile, the Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier is tearing apart. Scientists are warning of volcanic eruptions under the ice. The Arctic is in turbo mode. But here's the kicker. The pressure from all this doesn't hit Miami or New York. It lands here in the Midwest. Chicago won't drown, but it'll be forced to carry the weight of survival because the Great Lakes hold 20% of the world's freshwater surface. And with millions inland, the question becomes, can Chicago rise to lead or will it collapse under the weight of the future? From what you heard, what do you think about that, Mr. Kane?
Now, it's always a caveat with science. You know what I mean? So I did a little research on what the glaciers and where they come from and why this global warming is affecting the glaciers, right? So the glaciers is really affected by global warming. We already know. The glacier, the global warming comes from CO2, carbon dioxide, not carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. And basically, China has the highest net positive CO2 emissions in the world. They had like 33%. So, and what's crazy is they had 33%, we at 12%. We second in the world in CO2 emissions, right? Now, the crazy thing is, this is from 2023. The numbers was recorded in 2023. They don't have the 2024 numbers yet. And of course, we're still in 2025. But 33%, China has put in some legislation to decrease that amount by 2050. Now, we as a country hasn't put any legislation in to decrease the issue. The CO2, now I want to explain a little bit about what CO2 is. CO2 is basically what we breathed out. You know what I mean?
Right.
We inhale oxygen, we breathe out CO2. Trees is the reciprocate, it's the opposite. They take in CO2 and they give us oxygen. So they got a thing called net positive CO2 emissions positive, net positive, net negative. We are 12% positive CO2, so we putting out way more CO2 than everybody else. So we second, but China is already tripling us already. But they do have legislation to help that, and I feel like that's something that we need. Whether you believe in the glaciers melting or whatever, we do need legislation put in place so we can correct the issue for a solution or whatever.
It seemed like it's irreversible at this point right now. And being that we're from the Midwest and the things that's going on in Chicago now, do you think we are set up to be able to handle that? If that does happen, people move more inland and Chicago being pretty much the major state, it'll probably become the predominantly biggest city in America.
Yeah, the Great Plains is definitely set up. We part of the Great Plains. It's set up to help.
The leadership there.
But I don't think it's irreversible. Remember in 2020, COVID year, in 3 months that everybody was locked down? I promise you, if you go outside, the air was clear, the water, you'll ride past the water. I'm talking about you can see the bottom of the lake. So it's like it almost got reversed. The air was cleaner. You can see the stars. Like you can't even see stars now. So I think Earth corrects itself.
That's a good point, though. Just maybe we need to just
pull back and then
pull back a little bit.
And what's crazy is they blaming it. I want to go this route because they blaming our extra CO2, because we had 12%, they blamed it on, well, not they, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is blaming it on humans and animals, meaning we eat too much meat and he trying to control the population, which is crazy. He feel like if we decrease the meat intake and have less babies, we can reverse the CO2. But the fact is, most of our CO2 emissions come from cars, trucks, planes, transportation. That's where most of the CO2 come from. If we reverse or use cleaner burning of those things, it'll reverse itself. But CO2, basically having more CO2 in the air basically traps heat. That's what CO2 does. It traps heat in the atmosphere. So if you trapping heat in the atmosphere, you're gonna automatically make global warming. You're gonna automatically make the glaciers melt. And it ain't focused on like one area. It's literally, if somebody 3,000 miles away from you is having CO2 issues, you having them same issues. I mean, that's why the glaciers is melting. Like, people are like, all right, we doing this there, Antarctica don't have to, and it's nothing in Antarctica or the North or South Pole. But that's where the ice is, and it's affecting everything. It's making the glaciers melt. So if you don't believe it, just believe that. Flashback to 2020, when nobody was on the road for 3 months, everything was cleaner. Even the air smelled better. Everything was better. When them 3 months that nobody was driving their cars, pumping gas,
But a lot of things that they don't talk about is like the shift in weather and the animals moving inland. You might run into certain animals you might not never seen in your life now that the water,
Right.
see things start to come more your way because of the water.
Right.
So,
and that's something else you just touched on. During them three months that we was on lockdown, I seen so many animals. It was like they came out to play when everybody was locked down. They was out. Deers everywhere. I seen a deer in Evergreen. Like, what's going on? So yeah, people was out. The animals was out. I mean, and the earth was cleaning itself sometimes. So it can be reversed. It always be reversed. Even when we had the flood, I don't want to go back to biblical time, but even with the flood, stuff got reversed. It can happen, but
that said, it looks like romance is returning into the workplace. Even in this digital era, romance is circling back to real life. Many couples are still meeting through work, friends, and shared interests. Providing intentionality and offline chemistry still matters. With return to office mandates, Gen Z and millennials are driving an office romance revival. Proximity and shared space are creating new sparks, and the workplace is becoming an unexpected hub of modern love. So is this a healthy return to old school connections, or that mix between professionalism and personal works? Does it collide and add any type of...
It definitely was a trend going on with the dating apps and stuff. Even in the 20s, even in the 2010s. Remember, we was down in the basement when I was calling the little dating. What was the phone service where they was meeting people? In 2006, 2007, they had that little phone service you can call
what you're
up.
talking about. Yeah, I remember that.
It's always been around, but the trendy thing now is the dating apps. I'm glad that it's going back to the old school where you meeting people through the workforce, or through friendship, through hookups.
Yeah.
It's like it's better that way. I don't know.
So I met my wife.
It's definitely better that way. The language, the relationship lasts long. And for one, dating apps is probably a good hookup spot, but you ain't gonna find nothing long term on no dating app. I don't think. I want to know the numbers, but I do got numbers right here though. In terms of the age range, the younger people, because I'm in my 40s, 17 through 30, the online hookups is at 20%. That's leading to marriage, right?
Okay.
At work hookups is 43% of the at work hookups are leading to marriage. So I feel like that's the best case scenario if you find somebody that you that's your partner in life or whatever at work. I feel like the dating app is pretty much a hookup. So
do you feel like that interferes with, like, let's say if the relationship doesn't go right, does it kind of interfere with your work relationships and how things is done? And that's why
that's a good question.
A lot of companies don't promote that because
it's against the rule. They got rules in place, but I don't know. I feel like HR got to understand. I bet you HR is getting it in too. You know what I mean? But HR got to understand that, you're getting that little age range. How else we gonna just go to the club at 50 years old?
Sometimes that shit is just inevitable. You can't stop it. You just be like, I can't take my eyes off shorty.
I remember even back when we was even in grade school. My whole point of I ain't gonna lie, the whole point of me going to school was see the girls in grade school. So it kind of works the same way in our 40s.
I'm not gonna touch because I have a lasting image of those. We used to have. I went to Catholic school, so they had to have them skirts with them blouse tops, and some of them ones they ain't get no new blouse tops. Boys get to be tight, boy. You be like, oh God,
But,
can't focus.
I'm just saying when I was. So it works the same way. Sometimes you want to go to work. You don't want to just go to work to do work. You want to treat your eyes right. Goddamn it,
Yeah.
So you go to work, you see something nice. If you got the rules in place, you don't want to get fired for it. But you got to do what you got to do. Cause what you gonna do? You go to the gym. You know what I mean? They gonna think you creepy just because you see something. You see something you like. They recording everything, and you see somebody you see in the background, somebody just looking nice or whatever. It look creepish, goddamn it. But
yeah, they definitely don't like to be picked up at the gym.
Right. So what you gonna do? You gonna do it at the grocery store?
They damn near gotta pick you up at the gym.
They got to choose at the gym. That's the only way it happens at the gym. But if you go to the grocery store, what? You probably can meet up at the grocery. You probably can find somebody at the grocery store, but they ain't there for groceries. They ain't there for. They there for to get groceries. It seemed like the best case scenario is the workforce.
And he got a job, or she got a job, or
through friends.
Got their business. Yeah.
Them the two best places.
And
I don't like the dating apps. I mean, I ain't gonna say I don't like it because I never been on the dating apps. But from knowing my friends that I know that's on dating apps, it's literally just a hookup spot. It ain't to find nothing long term. I'm with the change in relationships right now because that's old school. You know what I mean? Back in the 90s.
With that said, we're going to move on to economics. And it seems like in economics, the big thing now is the buy now, pay later. It seems like it's booming. Nearly half of Americans have tried it. However, 41% of users reported at least one payment missed in the last year, up from 34% from the prior years. 24% of buy now, pay later borrowers were late on payments, increasing almost 6% year over year. The delinquency rate is users under 25,000. So with that said, is this a setup for failure? Like is a hidden debt trap? A lot of us ain't understanding and we're stepping in too fast, just trying to get some things that we need today instead of just old school way of saving up and buying it.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't regret much in life, but that was my biggest regret, getting a credit card. I promise you, in college, my mother and my grandmother used to say, don't get them credit cards.
Yeah, they did.
And that literally was my biggest regret. And it's like it builds bad habits. It builds like when you get the credit card in
safety
college,
net, that safety net.
It builds bad habits. And at the time, you ain't, because I had got like a $3,000 credit card. That's crazy in college.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, I want to buy this, I want to buy it. Next thing you know, you got $1,500 on the credit card and you ain't even got no income. So how you gonna pay for this credit card? And that translates to now. People is going through a recession. I don't know if you want to call it a recession or whatever, but it's not like the 90s where you can one person's check can take care of the whole household, or like the 80s. Now both people really got to work, and that credit card is the fastest way to get to any issues because most people don't save up like that. Yep. Most people don't even have enough money past a couple checks in the bank, a month worth of money in the bank. They don't even have that. So you'll see that little credit card, and it's time. Let's get money right now. But I feel like entertainment and sports is the only job that's recession proof. It's like them the numbers in sports. You saw everybody getting paid like that.
Yeah,
like every year
it's actually going up.
It's going up.
It's going up.
I'm like, why everybody's
where's the money coming from?
Where the money coming from?
Definitely come from the fans.
That's the only people in the market right now that's recession proof. Because right now, that buy now pay later is the it's not the way to go, but it's where people
like they said, like on the report, it's a hidden debt trap. Because what the numbers say, 25%. No, people at 25,000 or less has jumped up from 31% to 40% is the ones that's mostly using it, and there's no way out of that when you get over a certain amount. So you're not only making that.
You saying the only people making 25,000, the people that's making 25,000 and under has the most.
It just jumped up to almost 41% of being delinquent on the rates.
That's wild.
Yeah, because it's like there's no way out of that. Those fees they are high.
And it's like if I'm borrowing from you, that's obvious I don't have the money. So why is the fee so crazy?
But you got some young kids that's out here like, well, let's say they 24 or something like that. And they want a pair of Jordans. It's like $300. So they go get the little 6-month payment on it. But let's say they went to the club. They got no responsibility with no money. Now they late a $50 payment. They're going to charge you the late fee, tell you that's the first time. You missed the second one, you're going to be like, oh, I'll just pay the extra $10. Now you don't get the rates you got. They jump the rates up.
Oh, that's the hidden?
Yeah, the hidden debt trap. They jump the rates up, and now you owe that money plus the interest on it. And so it's like, it's a spiral after that point. Because if you didn't have the 50, you definitely ain't got 100.
Right.
When they double the fees, they tell you they're going to double the price of the product on you. So it's just one of those things.
If you need that, I mean, I'm right now, I'm at a point where I got to have the money to purchase. Unless it's something super big like a car or something like that. But I feel like you should have the money before you start using that credit. If you want to build your credit, you know what I mean? But if you got that 25% interest rate, it's a different way you got to build it.
Yeah. If you ain't got it, don't get it, man.
Basically.
Don't get it, man. I know you might be looking at it like, I need that right now. You don't need it. You don't need it.
Live below your means. That's always a happy life.
Go outside, get some fresh air. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's a happier life. A lot of times people live above their means, and that brings the stress.
Everybody does. I don't know nobody who's living below their means. I just don't know them.
The only person I heard of was Kendrick Lamar talking about he only had a $500,000 house. And I'm like, okay, that's cool then.
Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco live like that too?
Yeah, he said he still got NFL money.
That's cool. I guess they role models for it then, because I don't know too many people that's trying to do it, but it's definitely less stress. If you live below your means.
On the health, that seems to be a deadly kissing bug parasite that's out here, the triomectamine insect. I think I said that.
Kissing bug.
The kissing bug. It's been spreaded over the 32 states. It carries the parasite causing Chagas disease, but can remain hidden for years. Long-term effect causes serious heart and digestive complications. Most people affected don't even realize they're affected it, and it's a bite on the face. That's why they call it the kissing bug. And it kind of bites and defecates. And when you scratch on it, it kind of infects the skin. So with that out, what's your remedy for that?
It's hard to have a remedy for bugs because they everywhere. But the fact that people explain it as being like a bug that'll come in while you sleep, like when you're in the house and when you're in the crib. So you just you definitely gotta check around your surroundings or whatever. You got them. If you got bugs in your crib, you gotta distinguish that and get rid of it. But another thing is most of these bugs is attacking these warm weather states. You know what I mean? And this how it's affecting Illinois. Illinois ain't really got too many traces. They ain't really had too many people calling in about it.
Yeah, it's right at that Missouri line.
It's right there at that line. So the crazy thing is now our summers is longer than normal. You know what I mean? Because now it's September. We still talking about 85, 90 degree weather. Right. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. People be like, man, I love the summer, but I don't love them bugs. Them bugs, they, or whatever. So I don't know. That's another thing with the glacier, the global warming thing. We need our original Chicago weather. It's getting too warm, man. Get these bugs up out of here.
Yeah. So I advise you to call your local bug company and make sure you spray your windows and doors and stuff like that.
Off don't work for these bugs either. So you gotta get the real stuff for these bugs. You can't just go out there with
store brought. They buying good stuff. Spray your house because they're mostly coming in at night, biting people when they sleep and stuff like that. Protect your family and your kids. That's all I can say on that one right there. All right. With that said, we're gonna enter into the Truth Corner with Thomas Kane. Some unfiltered takes on some Hollywood and media spins and industry truths.
Okay, I had to look since we talked about the glacier melting and Neil deGrasse Tyson and what he was talking about with the glaciers melting. I had another video that he had that he was basically talking about the most common deaths up until 1850. So I want y'all to see. Just check it out real quick.
When we were all in the caves, half of everyone born was dead before the age of 30.
Jesus.
Fast forward to 1840.
Sure.
That number went up to 35. Half of everyone born was dead by the time they were 35. So in the tens of thousands of years between living in caves and the middle of the 19th century,
we only got 5 more years.
We got 5 years
Jesus.
on that. Okay. Since then, with advances in medicine and by the way, everyone back then was eating organic. Just saying. and the water was clear, the air ran pure, the game was free range, didn't make a damn bit of difference. Science matters here. Okay? All right? You can run around and eat all the organic you want.
Okay.
You'd be dead by the 30 unless some doctor came in and said, we can increase your life expectancy using science.
You're directing this at me as if I'm RFK Jr.
So the video talked about how science, he's a scientist, you know what I mean? And he's a podcaster. He's trying to get he's trying to get his business going and get everything out. But like I said, science always has a caveat, because the way he talked about science being king, it's true that we need science. And it's true that, from the time span of thousands of years ago up until 1850, the average lifespan was 35. No, it was 30. And since from 1850 till 4,000 years ago up until like 2,000 years, it was 30. The average age was 30. From the time AD 0 to 1850, we only got 5 more years. And he said that science is the reason why we are now at 67, 69, 70 years, depending on what culture you're in, what race you are, 70 years of average age. Now, the reason why I say science is a caveat, the reason why they was always counting infant deaths. If you look at the infant death, if babies are dying at a high rate, of course, it's going to change the numbers from whatever it is. But if you live past a certain age, you live to 70, 80, 90 years old, even in the old days. So if you get past your adolescent years, when all these little diseases, all these little infectious diseases, pandemics or whatever was hitting you, you would literally live to 80, 90, 100 years old, just like now. Now he's basically saying all the vaccines or whatever that you need is yes, it is science, but they need cleaner vaccines. Because now vaccines is extending lives. It ain't as many infant deaths, but it's like they're giving you other issues. They're giving you autism, and they putting too much mercury into the vaccines. Yeah, yes. Before then, the people that the average age was 30 years old, and now it's like 70. It's like science look for different issues, but they don't always come up with solutions. You got the vaccines that's helping people live, but now the vaccines is giving you issues later on in life, and some people is getting autism. Why the science can't figure out a way to get a cleaner vaccine without all this mercury in it, and people actually have longer lives that don't have autism? There's so many people born with autism right now. That was, it's not like a fact check video. Yeah, he was true about the average age, but like I said, it's kind of like it's a caveat. It ain't just because, it was mostly because of infant deaths. A lot of infant deaths happened. People back then wasn't living past 2 or 3 years old because of like smallpox, measles, diphtheria, all the infectious diseases and different epidemics. So that was my little fact check video.
All right, with that said, Mac Boss will be back next week with you Under the Radar, and we off to the races. We'll see y'all next week, man.
Yeah.